do a couple of things while I wait for people to find it. Problem is I put the wrong link up because I'm trying to work out how to work across two phones at the same time. This doesn't work. So just bear with me for a moment in case you're watching. I've got to try and find myself on YouTube. Which is a bit frustrating because it's just a shit system. Or actually I'm a shit user because I haven't actually learned it properly. New tab. Got to find my own page. Here we go. Now I'm going to get feedback. Share. Come on. Facebook. Newsfeed. Getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Sorry, people. I'm going to talk about Jindabyne Landfill in a minute. Just going to get the link out. Get everybody, because I get people annoyed that they can never find it. So let me just sort it out. Move to bin, move. Live, chatting about it. Group. I get lots of messages, people saying, oh, I didn't know you were live. So I've just got to quickly share many as I can. Save, post, share, group. I'm sure there's a better way. I haven't worked it out yet. Jindabyne. Threadbow, that one. Post. One more share. I'm sure there's a better way. Jindabyne. Canberra notice board. Monty Python fans, I don't know that they really care. Threadbow. Where's Jindabyne notice board? Jindabyne notice board. There we go. Go. Post. Right. So. Hopefully sound check. Everything's fine. I am actually put down 15 minutes stop. 7. So you have to fill in your logbook in Australia. This is the logbook. So we're going to say Campbelltown. 3154 453154. So you have to fill out this stupid logbook to keep track of what you're doing. And we're away. 48 tonne. So I'm in a truck and I'm leaving Sydney, heading home. I've got 48. Well, I'm grossed up at 48 tonne. I've got about 29 tonne of stuff on me. So, what's the purpose of the live? The purpose of the live tonight is to discuss the crisis or the debacle of the snowy Monaro Regional Council, hashtag councillor, which is an elected position. We have an election. So there's a federal government in Australia, or the Commonwealth government. There's a state government. We're in the state of New South Wales. So we have a state parliament. And then we have a local council, or some people call it local government. It's a local council. It's a creature of the state parliament. New South Wales has a constitution, and the Commonwealth of Australia has a constitution, and we are a federation of states. There's a whole range of rabbit hole type discussions that we can go into about what does all that mean. But there's a couple of things. Talk about the Jindabyne tip. The other thing to note is we have a council meeting on Thursday in 2 days' time. So Australian East, I should say, 1 p.m. in Bombala. There will be a live stream where you can watch. And there are 24 councillor motions. And that's where we put up things that we want to do. So I've got a motion to end all COVID agendas and mandates and requirements. I've got a motion to commence a community discussion with respect to fluoride in town water. And that's as a consequence of the US Supreme Court in several states of America ordering fluoride of public water cease, because there is apparently provable harm at 0.8 milligrams per litre rate of fluoride. So I'm going to encourage our area to have a public discussion. Do we want to keep it, or should we stop it? If the US Supreme Court has evidence of provable harm, I think we should take heed of that. And that was put in place before Trump and Robert F. Kennedy, well, before Trump was elected and Kennedy become the health guy. So that's important. I've got a motion to end all UCC requirements. That's an unreasonable customer complainant. It's basically where the council stops you from talking to them. They read your email, they edit. Now, as a councillor, my email account is UCC'd. All of my emails, my council email is read by the staff before it gets anywhere, and any email sent to me is read by staff, and they decide whether or not I can get it. It's completely outrageous. It is completely undemocratic. It is effectively a Commonwealth crime interfering in mail, because it's electronic mail. So it's pretty serious shit. And it's never been done properly. The policy is defective at law, and the policy relies on legislation that has been repealed. So that has to be addressed, and it has to end. I've got a range of other motions about various things. There's a call for a compliance check of a property at Wolf Street, which is near me. There are other motions from Councillor Ribbon-Rose and Councillor Williamson. Williamson wants to give several issues to the council's internal auditor. What's interesting, the council's internal auditor told us that he doesn't have any work at the moment, so we can make use of him. He's a resource that is available to us. And that's what you do as part of a good governance. It's prudent, it's responsible, it's what you do when you're in a governance role. So that's all coming up. Now, one of the things that's going to come to this meeting, that's your teaser, is there'll be a late paper or a mayoral minute as an urgent matter of business to do with the Jindabyne Landfill. There is a crisis at the Jindabyne Landfill. So, we have a monthly meeting, a regular monthly meeting, third Thursday at 1 p.m. In between that, we have Thursday briefings where we sit with the executive staff and targeted special staff or what have you. And we get briefings, and we can ask questions in an informal setting and share knowledge, go through training, things like that. It sounds nice, we have a cup of tea with each other, but it's just a hate fest. The Labor councillors hate me. Some of the other councillors are quite troubled by me being there. They just can't deal with it. I'm not stupid. Most people have sort of worked that out. I'm actually pretty smart. And so I ask clever questions. I ask questions to educate the other councillors. I don't always need to know the answer of what I've asked a question to. I quite often know the answer to a question I'm asking, and I'm testing the staff. That might make me sound like a smug prick. It's actually a very clever tactic in any kind of bargaining sense. I know the answer to the question I'm going to ask, Because I want to know, do the staff know, do the executive know, and do the other councillors know? And then when I don't know, I ask. No one knows. They can't work it out. It's pretty funny. So we share all this information. So we had a briefing last week about the planning system. New South Wales planning system is incredibly complex, very expensive to administer. We have to set a budget and plan 4 years forwards for how we're going to resource the planning department for development, consent applications and compliance, planning, local environment plans. We've got 3 local environment plans relating to our Shire, the Cooma LEP, the Snowy River LEP, and the Bombala LEP, and they're all different. We had agendas with the rural land use. And if you're local, a lot of this stuff, just little bells go bing, 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 you recognise some of this stuff. We've talked about it a lot over time. And so we went through all of that, and one of the elements of that part of the department was waste. And the council staff said, hey, councillors, we have to have a really tough discussion. At the end of this briefing, we want you to stay on. We're going to have a really tough discussion about Jindabyne Landfill. So, let's jump to that. We started this discussion. I said, councillors, we've currently got a development application. It's council's own application, which it is applying to itself, which I think is completely retarded. So we are the applicant asking to do something, but we're asking ourselves, but we are also the regulator who approves what you do and then sets the rules for what you can do. So we set our own rules, we check our own homework. I think it's completely retarded. It's not good governance, and it's not how it should be done. It's a very simple solution. We just give our DA to another council and we ask them to assess it against the New South Wales planning system, bushfire laws, blah, blah, blah. So we got told that there's a $15 million proposal for a new waste transfer facility at Jindabyne. And it was 5 to 8 years away, and there's no identified funding. Council does not have the money. So it's a pink elephant at the moment, or a white elephant. They said, it's great news though, councillors. We've got advice that we don't need to do that anymore. What they forgot to tell us is that we'd gone and bought the land to build this waste transfer station next to the current landfill on the other side of its road, but they don't need to do that now, so we've got surplus land. It's just crazy. And they said, we can do it for about $2.5 million if we're clever with how we finish using the Jindabyne Landfill when it runs out of life. And they said, but this is the hard bit, councillors. We thought we had 2 or 5 years, something like that. Well, if the transfer station was 5 to 8 years away, you would reason that there was at least 5 years left in the Jindabyne tip, wouldn't you? Just simple logical deduction, you would think. And they said, councillors, we got advised on Tuesday, so that was 2 days before the briefing, and this is the 14th of March last week, with the briefing, on the 13th of March I should say, it was the briefing, Thursday the 13th of March. They said, councillors, we were advised on Tuesday afternoon by our waste managers that the Jindabyne tip will be full next Friday. Full as in cannot take any more rubbish. None. Finished. And it didn't go down very well with councillors because it doesn't get much stupider than that. That the executive don't actually know what the hell is going on with a multi-million-dollar per year business unit, the waste business unit for the town of Jindabyne, which is circa 6,000 odd people, and it swells to like 20,000 or something over the winter peak tourist period. So the tip will be full on the 21st of March, which is 2 days time, 3 days time. And now staff are trying to say, well, 28th of March. But I wrote down 21st of March on my notepad. That's what they told us, that's what I wrote down. So anyway, they just said, hands in the air, we don't have any ideas, we don't know what to do, we've got no advice, we need to work something out and we need to find a budget. Wow, talk about thrown into the deep end. So we've got 11 councillors, not all of them were there, and we've got to urgently come up with some kind of solution to stop a panic where nobody can take their rubbish to the tip. They'd have to drive a 70-kilometre drive to the town of Cooma to go to their tip. And then, of course, with all of that town's rubbish coming to the other town's tip, it runs out of life and it'll be full in under 5 years. That triggers the requirement for a new centralised waste facility in the Shire, which they had costed at around $40 million. So I'll say that again, council staff had been working on a waste strategy for several years. I was a community participant. I was highly critical of it because it's very poorly developed and poorly scoped, but that the new centralised waste facility would probably cost about 40 million. There was somewhere between 11 and 35 million required to transition the landfills to end of life and to close them and cap them. So there's a technical term for this. It's a fuck up, pure and simple. That is the technical term. Hashtag this will be the 11th code of conduct. There's no other term that you could use. How could you get something so wrong? How could you have your eye off the ball? And that's because the executive is spending all their time trying to get me sacked or kicked out or suspended or disciplined. And that is the truth, because I have the evidence. They are not focusing on the job. They are not managing the staff. They are not listening to the staff. And so I am not attacking the staff. I'm defending the staff. The staff have been trying to tell the executive level of the council that there is a crisis, and the executives have not listened. Who remembers me talking about the guy with the fancy shoes? Tony Murray, the director in charge of that section at the highest level, is a bloke by the name of Tony Murray, who was formerly a communications advisor or something, potentially for Chris Bowen or something like that. He's our federal treasurer. So he's a shiny shoe brigade. He's out of Canberra, public servant. You wouldn't know the sharp end of a shovel from the handle. And he's in charge, and he's not listening to his staff. He's just swanning around, because a couple of weeks ago he pissed off to Japan for 3 weeks skiing. Right when the tip was at its climax, at its penultimate moment. No more rubbish can be received because full. He goes skiing in Japan for 3 weeks because he wants to get some powder skiing in. That's Tony Murray. And of course, do nothing done Shay, hashtag do nothing done Shay. He was doing nothing. And it gets worse. And I'll go to that in a minute. So, in this briefing I said, right, well, I have an idea. And Councillor Linda Summers, the really ugly one from Labor, basically said, you are not an expert, you need to be quiet. And I said, well, actually, you need to shut up. And most of the other councillors backed me and they told her to shut up, which is good, because she is just awful. And I'll say it again for the transcript, the really ugly one. Are we clear? Stenographer? Linda, L-Y-N-D-A, Summers, S-U-M-M-E-R-S, married to Mr. Smith, Mark Smith, the guy that hit me in the Centennial Park when I got spat on by the Yes campaigner, who was Linda Summers' friend. Oh, yeah, I can tie all these stories together. So if I'm not entitled to say what I think about the ugly creature that sits opposite me and sniggers and sneers and interrupts, then there is no free speech in this world. So take this as said. And that's important because the Office of Local Government are trying to take a disciplinary action against me at the moment, and they've got it transcribed to my videos. So I just thought I'd make it clear for the stenographers. Linda Summers was told to shut up, and I said, well, this is my recommendation. We put an excavator, I said 30 tonne, but apparently I've been told since a 20 tonne excavator would be perfectly fine. We put a 30 tonne excavator in the tip, we start digging the rubbish up, We put 4 trucks, truck and dogs, super dogs, 30-ton payloads. We put 4 trucks on it, and we do, each truck can do 3 trips a day. So that's 12 trips a day. 12 times 3 is 360. That's 360 tonne a day we could shift away, which probably easily exceeds the rubbish coming in. That means that the people of Jindabyne would not see any impact. They would continue BAU, business as usual. There was a lot of interest in that by the executive, like, shit, that's a good idea. And I explained it like this. If you think of an Egyptian pyramid and you didn't leave enough room to put the stone on the top, so you take the top layers off, you end up with more room. And then, of course, in the future, we spend a bit of money lowering the height of the tip back under its maximum operating height, and then we've got space to build our waste transfer station. Pretty simple, really. But I mightn't be a terribly good looking bloke, but I got a bit of brain. So that's my recommendation. I said we transfer to Cooma. Of course, Cooma's going to probably lose about a year. Finished. Not meant to do phone calls on my YouTube phones, but this one's got the magnet on the back. We transfer the waste, we build the waste transfer station, we give ourselves some time, we buy some time, we sit down with the EPA and say, hey guys, I know there's a maximum limit at Cooma, can we have an extension to that maximum limit to accommodate the extra waste coming from Jindabyne? And we also need your help to come up with a new centralised waste facility for the whole Shire. That's my plan. The staff said, yep, we're going to work on that, great. And then the meeting finished, everyone just left. The mayor just walked away like he was on drugs or something. The mayor didn't seem to understand this crisis and this catastrophe, the problem that this will cause and the extreme The new rules will be that maximum of 1 cubic metre can be disposed of into these new bins that they're going to use, and everything else has to go to Cooma. So I posted last night, there was a funny feeling that we were being set up for a trap with what the staff told us, because it doesn't quite make sense. I've made my own inquiries, I've got a bunch of information that I think is relevant. We did not get a late paper on Monday, which we should have, so I don't know how they're going to bring this business to the meeting, but we have to approve spending. There is money in the waste fund, but that's meant to be there for new trucks and breakdowns and new garbage compactors and steamrollers and shit, but they're probably going to use that money to start shifting rubbish. So we got an email yesterday from the executive saying, we're working hard, and that's bullshit, because I know what the executive have actually been doing. They've been trying to get me on another code of conduct, and I've got the proof. They said that they're going to put some big removable skips in, and the people can chuck recycling in 2 of them, and they can chuck rubbish in them. Maximum of 1 cubic metre. You can't tip out of your little trucks or your trailers. You have to be able to unload it by hand into the skips, and anything that can't be unloaded by hand and is more than a cubic metre, you have to go to Cooma. So I waited all weekend, spoke to a lot of people. I waited across yesterday, nothing came out from the council, and I thought, well, bugger them. It's unfair to the people of Jindabyne to not know this. I spoke to a former councillor, John Castellari, the Greens, and said, hey John, just got to give you the heads up, mate, this is going to affect your community, he lives there. And first thing John said to me was, shit, I better go to the tip tomorrow and get rid of my rubbish. So I think I'm doing the right thing by telling everybody. So I put a post out last night, obviously to provoke the council into putting a media statement out to tell everybody so that everyone can be up to speed with what's happening. So what's really interesting is that the council put out a media statement at around about 3 p.m. this afternoon. But all morning, I've had a lot of phone calls about it. All morning, people have been saying, oh, is this a rumour? Is this another rumour from Thaler? It's not a rumour. It's fact and it's truth. I didn't tell you on Friday when I wanted to. I waited until Monday night, hoping the council or the mayor might find some backbone and think, well, I better tell the community sooner than later. But he didn't. So I pushed the issue. So, yep, I'll probably get a code of conduct. Yep, I don't give a shit. It's about the people and the impact on their business. And this council just doesn't care. It doesn't care. Now, I said that the executive was more interested in getting a code of conduct on me yesterday. I had an interaction with a staff member on the weekend. Just the one. And the general manager wrote to me and tried to basically get me on a breach of the code of conduct because I spoke to a staff member and he made some allegations. He asked how I would respond. I rang him and said, are you really trying to do this? Because I'm very happy to defend myself. I did nothing wrong and the staff member did nothing wrong. And I said, so if I defend myself and you don't have a complaint against me, what happens to the staff member? And the general manager, Stephen Dunshea, said, well, that's a code of conduct. And he would go a code of conduct against a staff member, which could result in the staff member losing his job. So the general manager of our council, Stephen Dunshea, was happy to try and torch a staff member's job, a person that runs a crucial piece of our plant in our shire. Dunshea was happy to throw him under the bus, set fire to him. The analogy I want to draw is where I think this was going. Stephen Dunshea wanted to string this bloke up to a light pole by his neck and say to all the other staff, if you talk to Andrew Thaler, this is what will happen to you. That's what I believe Stephen Dunshea was trying to do. And he was doing that yesterday between midday, or 11 a.m, 10 a.m, whatever, right up until about 1:30 or 2 o'clock when the matter resolved itself, because I said to Dunshea, I will not let you go the staff member, I'll take you on, and I'll bring the union in. So I made him back down. And he can try to deny and say, I didn't back down. You back down, Stephen. I'll read your fucking email out, mate. But when I tell you people that Stephen Dunshea is a complete piece of shit, stenographer for the Office of Local Government, shit is spelled S-H-I-T and peace is I before E except after C. Stephen Dunshea is a complete piece of shit. He was installed in our council by the Office of Local Government. That is my opinion. And he is nasty. And I will not tolerate it. And I'm making this as a public record. And I will again say, fuck you, Stephen Dunshea. How dare you attack the staff to try and get to me? It's not going to happen, mate. The people are saying no. We are fed up with it. We have had enough. We are taking our council back. I'm outraged. You can't tell I'm fucking outraged by the shit that I've got to put up with and the lies and the subterfuge and the underhandedness. It is completely outrageous and it is corrupt conduct. That's the last I'll say on it. I will now make my complaints formal. You are warned, Stephen Dunshea. Don't ever do that again. Lucky he's gone in 2 months, if not earlier. So, I'm going to run out of daylight, folks. I'm really sorry, but we're driving. That is the story of the Jindabyne Landfill. I hope you share this video around a lot so that everybody knows Andrew didn't lie. Andrew didn't start a rumour. Andrew tried to observe the principles of being a councillor. It was not confidential information. I confirmed that on Friday. I waited for council to put out a statement. They are now trying to not use my advice. Okay, whatever, I don't care. Oh, one last thing, because they have been so ridiculous. I have formally withdrawn my offer to assist in solving the waste problem. They're on their own. I'll sit back and I'll watch the bonfire burn. They don't care because it's other people's money. OPM. Other people's money. And that's why councils are failing. They don't respect money. They don't know what they're doing. They are not skilled. They're not trained. And they would rather wear fancy shoes and steel caps. And they would rather go skiing in Japan for 3 weeks than solve the dirty, dirty jobs of fixing up Jindabyne Landfill so that the people aren't, becomes a real pain in the ass. That's what I stand for. That's what I was elected to do. That's what I'm doing. And that's what the executive are trying to stop. There you go, folks. We're out of daylight. Well, we can always do that. Ha! Maybe we can keep going. No, it's too annoying. So, I've been your host, Andrew Thaler. This is the Andrew Thaler Rant Post. Tune in again tomorrow night at the same time. No, I'll see you at 1 o'clock at Bombala on Thursday, and otherwise tune in, live stream, share, like, follow my YouTube channel. Everyone else says it, why can't I? Bing bing, just pretend I've got a little bell on the screen. That I hate that, but you'll get the news. I'm going to use YouTube Live a lot more from now on because Facebook Live is no longer going to keep the videos. It's just going to purge them after 30 days. So it's YouTube for me, and it's where all the fun kids are. So, ciao. Can you press the off button? I get my co-pilot to touch the phone, not me. I'm here for thinking. Yeah, you got to touch it. Get rid of that. Touch the X.